What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I want to talk to you about Palantir. I want to go over some of the data points, technicals, and where I see things going from here. Before I get into any of that though, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate it. And with that, let's get right to it. So currently it is down 3.79%. A lot of volume for the first hour and a half of the trading day. So 14.7 million shares being traded. 37 is the average, and for the daily average, of course. So I do feel like today being a Friday, a lot of eyes are on it. And when it comes down to it, there has been no actual news, no SEC filings today, nothing like that. So it is just a lot of articles coming out saying that based on Palantir and the price it is at, it is just too pricey, if that makes sense. So a lot of people are starting to look at a lot of the ratios to see if it makes sense. So currently the PS ratio is 16.7, the future is 14.1. And so if you do compare that to a lot of other AI similar stocks, it is a little bit high. But at the same time, when it comes down to Palantir though, and that whole sector, it's really difficult to put a price on the future, because based on the last couple of earnings, Palantir is ultimately kind of one way or another going to take over the world. They're going to benefit, but how do you put a price point on that? So this is where a lot of people are kind of pushing and pulling in different directions, and ultimately you are going to have a lot of volatility, similar to what I'm going to mention when it comes down to the technicals. And as well, when it came out today, there was two new analyst ratings. One $17 target maintained from Jefferies, Brent Hill, who does have a 43% success rating. Second one is a initiated coverage, so brand new rating, $16 price target, and that is from HSBC. So I feel like a lot of that is causing some volatility based on HSBC and things like that. So when it comes down to it, like I mentioned, especially about the pricing of Palantir, based on the latest Morningstar report, which I do believe came out last Friday, if I remember correctly, or Thursday, it does show the fair market value being $11. So once again, this is where, where Palantir should be priced. It's kind of anyone's guess. So let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. If you are looking for a lot of good compiled information, such as Morningstar reports, analyst ratings, analyst forecasts for upcoming earnings, take a look at Interactive Brokers. I do have a link to them in the description below and also the comments for all of this to be completely free. So take advantage of this while you can. But when it comes down to it, I think the broader market is very much just waiting, because there's a lot of speculation saying that essentially JP Morgan is not really anticipating any more Fed rate hikes. And obviously JP Morgan isn't the only institution really citing this. But when it comes down to the next Fed meeting on September the 20th, if in fact there isn't any rate hike, so no 25 basis increase, then essentially I think that might be the green light for a lot of growth stocks such as Palantir to really run up. So that's something just to keep in mind for potentially next week. But I'm going to give you an overview of a lot of the things that you need to know, starting off with options activity. So right now, $4.74 million in calls being purchased versus 1.59 million in puts. So based on this information, despite it pulling back, a lot of people are very, very optimistic about the future and anticipate it for it to trend up. And as far as this, this is Mullen. So looking at Palantir, so based on calls, so this is the grid view, shows all the strike prices, expiry dates. Based on this, it is anticipated to be roughly between the $15.50 and about the $17 range by the end of next week. But when it comes down to options activity, it is just merely a sentiment. It does not move the stock price, so just be aware of that. As far as this goes, there's only been one transaction today over $100,000 on the secondary market. Dark pool, there's surprisingly none today. So that's something just to consider. Obviously not here to say that there isn't any activity, but nothing really over $100,000. So, and also on a side note, when it comes down to the dark pool, it's very much used by shorts, very common. So I'm going to give you an overview of that. And as I said in the past, I'm not here to say Palantir is going to be a squeeze stock at all. It's just using this as a benchmark. So short score is currently 46. Utilization is 13.25%. And as far as right now, with it red, shorts are returning 24,000 shares. So the fact that they are returning on a red day shows that they do not feel like it's justified. So I see that as bullish, similar to the options activity. 8.31% of the free float is being shorted. 152.65 million shares overall are being shorted, and cost to borrow average is 0.57%. So that is complete pennies, very, very low. But just to put it in perspective on how shorts are, based on, I guess, the amount now that they are shorting, it works out to be about $2.42 billion worth. So pretty significant stuff. But when it comes down to the technicals, let's talk all about that. So when we are looking as far as this, zooming out a little bit, so it is wedge bound between the 50 and 100-day moving average. And not only that though, it is very volatile. So when you are, for instance, an option trader, you really want to find those two things, which is basically Palantir does have. So a lot of volatility, and as well as just wedge bound between two very strong support and resistance points. So as of right now, I do feel that Palantir is just waiting for a opportunity for it to easily just break out, and potentially the Fed's not increasing their rates might be that X factor to cause it to go up. But as far as what the points are, so with it being at $15.25 or 24 cents, it is currently between this S1 and the pivot. So 13.79 is a very strong support, vice versa 16.30 is a very strong resistance. So I do feel that there is a little bit more upside, that Palantir is just consolidating right now, but generally over time and most likely next week, I do feel that it is going to break above this 16.30 and trade between this P and the R1. As it stands, I don't think there's enough in it right now to be above this 1881 and stay there, but that's just my own interpretation, not a financial advisor, of course. So make sure you guys always do your own due diligence. So when it comes down to Palantir, as far as looking at this, momentum shows number of retail investors are getting out today, surprisingly enough. Stochastic is currently at 71, a little bit more of a start to a bearish sentiment right now. So red line is above the black. So potentially, and well, I guess aside from that though, 71 is kind of neutral. If it does continue to go up a little bit more, then it could be considered overbought and the technicals might consolidate based on that once again. So I do feel that there is a lot of upside to come with Palantir. It is just a waiting game, especially like I mentioned as well, when it comes down to these multiples, how do you appropriately price the future in, especially on Palantir that is going to be having their hand in absolutely everything. So you're going to have a lot of volatility, especially going back over here. The spread on all of these is huge. So there is going to be a lot of volatility in the future, and any spec stock and innovative company such as Palantir is going to have a lot of volatility. People just do not know how to price in innovation. And that's one of those things that's always been around, especially when it comes down to that. So let me know your thoughts on Palantir in the comments below. And just for complete argument's sake, what is your 1 year price target on Palantir? Given the growth that they've been having, where do you see things going this time next year? I'm kind of interested to hear your viewpoints on that. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And take advantage of this promo with 𝗪𝗧𝗧, link in the description below and also the comments. Sign up for an account with 𝗪𝗧𝗧, which is completely free to do, but if you throw $100 at the account, you get 5 free stocks. Each stock can be valued up to $2,000. So this is one of the best deals that you can get in the market, only up until September the 30th. So with all that said, I appreciate you all watching, and let's all make a lot of money on Palantir.